Is social media legally responsible for fueling a teen mental health crisis? That's the central question in the unprecedented big tech trial underway in California. The plaintiff, a now 20-year-old woman, identified by the initials KGM, claims her early use of social media addicted her to the technology and exacerbated her depression and suicidal thoughts. Allegations that Meta says it strongly disagrees with. Today, we heard from Mark Zuckerberg himself on the stand. Now, it's the first time he's faced a jury on the issue, but it's not the first time he's faced bereaved parents. Today, the plaintiff's attorney pressed Zuckerberg on the age requirements for Meta platforms, saying the plaintiff was 9 years old when she signed up for Instagram. Zuckerberg replied that 13 was always the age required in the terms when signing up, to which the attorney replied, "You expect a 9-year-old to read the terms and conditions?"
Look at his face. This is the moment a billionaire realizes his money can't talk him out of this. Mark Zuckerberg being grilled over age limits. Did he really think 9-year-olds are reading 50-page terms of service? This is absolute chaos in the courtroom.
There was no 1-800-META take this down or 1-800-TikTok take it down. Our children need to be in control of their digital landscape. They do not need engagement pushed at them so these billionaires can quadruple profits and growth. And I want to speak to advertisers everywhere. You have blood on your hands. You were, in my daughter's darkest moments, you were buying access to her to promote beauty products and beautification things. And, you know, my daughter wasn't broken. This system is broken. Meta is.
Did you catch the raw pain in that mother's eyes? She's literally looking at some of the most powerful people on the planet and telling them they have blood on their hands. It's heavy. When she talks about how advertisers were buying access to her daughter in her darkest moments, it really makes you rethink the whole digital landscape we're living in today. We often treat social media like it's just this harmless background noise, but for a teenager struggling with their mental health, it can become a literal trap. The system is fundamentally broken when profit is prioritized over the safety of actual children. And Zuckerberg just sits there with that corporate mask on. It's not just a legal battle, it's a moral reckoning. You have to wonder, if these companies aren't held liable for this kind of influence, who is? We're watching a historic shift in how we view big tech, comparing it to the cigarettes of our age. It's a wake-up call for every parent and every user. We need to pay attention to what's happening in that courtroom because it affects everyone with a smartphone.
Information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment. Number one, that is my understanding, that the federal government didn't shut this down, and we will do an official statement once we get another official statement that we anticipate is going to be coming from Paramount. All right, so we will read what they say, and then we'll go from there. It is our understanding that Colbert, either Mr. Colbert or CBS, decided that they just didn't want to hear it. This was because of a fear that the FCC may say something to them and that there may have been advice to just have me on and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that, and instead...
Okay, look at Jasmine Crockett here. She's usually the one bringing the fire, but in this clip, she looks like she's walking on eggshells. She's basically admitting that the whole government shutdown of her interview was a total fabrication. It's fascinating to see the internal friction within the party when the cameras aren't perfectly polished. Stephen Colbert blamed the FCC, but then the FCC and even CBS's own lawyers are like, wait, no, that wasn't us. It makes you realize how much of the political drama we see is just a carefully constructed marketing play for fundraising. She's trying to navigate this narrative while essentially being hung out to dry by her own side. You can see her struggling to find the right words because the reality doesn't fit the big bad government story they wanted to tell. It's a rare moment of a politician being caught between the truth and the talking points. When the people you're supposed to be aligned with start contradicting you publicly, you know there's some serious behind-the-scenes chaos going on. It's a masterclass in how media narratives are manufactured and then immediately fall apart under actual scrutiny.
When I arrived at DC Water, this was an organization that looked very similar to our industry. It was predominantly, white male at the top, but this is a utility that's, more than 70% people of color work at this utility. And I really believe, and I still believe, and it has been fantastic. The outcomes have been fantastic. But the people at the top, the executives, the chiefs in that C-suite, they should look like the employees that they serve and that they work with.
Catch that? The guy running DC Water is talking about how the executive team should look like the employees, while literally overseeing one of the biggest sewage spills in U.S. history. It's such a bizarre contrast. You've got 300 million gallons of raw sewage dumping into the Potomac, and the leadership's primary focus seems to be on demographic quotas rather than, keeping the pipes from exploding. It's that limiting belief system where competence takes a backseat to optics. When you're managing critical infrastructure that affects millions of people's health, nobody cares about the skin color of the person in charge. They care if the water is safe to drink. This clip really highlights the danger of prioritizing corporate vibes over technical excellence. It's not just a political debate, it's a public safety crisis. If the experts aren't focused on the engineering, this is exactly the kind of disaster you get. It's frustrating because the community is the one that ends up suffering the consequences, while the bureaucrats play social games in the boardroom. We need to get back to a world where results are the only metric that matters. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Stick around and hit follow if you want the real stories behind the headlines. See ya!